What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of 4 Dummies, and tonight I am joined with the other 3 dummies. I have Mrs. Skullface.
Hello.
I have Mr. Just One.
Yo, what's happening?
And I have Mr. Robert Detoff.
Oh, I'm offended.
And tonight we're going to continue with another collection critique. And if you want to hear the uncut version of this episode, please join the Patreon, where you can hear this conversation as well as a pre-conversation regarding Transformers 1. And you can also hear me screw up the intro for, I think, the first time in recorded history. Other than that, you know the routine. Check your feelings at the door. This is a collection critique. And we're going to start with our first entry for the night, which is Tim S. And I am sending it through now. And we got that white on white.
So I'm increasingly becoming the fan of the white cabinet.
Oh, the white. If I could do it all over again, the pod room that I'm in, the sit down Saturday room, if I could do it all over again, I would do white Billies for sure. It helps make the stuff
Billies,
pop.
though.
No. I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't think your shelves should have crown molding.
Why?
I don't think
I
it's
think
bad.
it looks nice.
I think it looks nice.
I think it does look weird if you are going to put stuff on. If you are going to put stuff on top of it, it does take away from that a little bit. But I don't think it's bad, Robert.
So let me tell you what I don't like. I don't like the Toy Hacks cardboard cutout backgrounds. I don't like it.
Yeah, especially in here, they don't work.
There's something Fisher Price about it.
Yep.
You know, they're nice cutouts. They're high quality prints, all those things. Like Toy Hacks, I think is doing a good job with it, but it just looks like my first display.
Right. And I think in this setting, it's even more so because the office is pretty nice. It's painted. The furniture is actually pretty nice. Like,
Yeah, it's a
and then you have
relatively
these-
formal space, like traditional furniture and
And it's the first time ever where the diorama or the space behind it actually takes away from it
Yeah, it's
looking
got crown
elevated.
molding and everything.
Yeah.
And then
I think there's probably
display.
I think for this guy, there's probably a more interesting way that you could organize these shelves or group these figures together. I'm not really a fan of the sword of this Shuriken coming out of the
Blocking the crown molding.
the shelf. Yeah, right.
Same with
right, exactly.
Superion's gun.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I think I've seen other people do that where it looks effective, but for here, for some reason, it doesn't work. So I think for this, what I recommend is getting a lot of clear stands and just utilizing the space of each cube to its full advantage. Like, even if you had, like on the one with Superion, even if you had Jetfire up a little bit more, it would look more interesting.
So I think a perfect example of this is like his Omega Supreme down at the bottom. Like, he's got a Huffer in alt mode, he's got a Hound, and then he's got a Snarl. It's just it's too random.
Yep,
Right.
Very random. Aesthetically, just one's shiny.
And it's off-putting, and like there's something behind. I guess it's a gears behind Omega Supreme's claw. It just doesn't get the job done. But I do want to point out, right? Like, so like you have these cardboard cutouts that I'm guessing are from Toy Hacks. But if you look at what he's done with the Megatron and the Seekers and Soundwave with the diorama flooring, like that looks so much better to me.
Yeah,
That
then the
looks
background's
so-
100%.
Yeah,
and even
looks so
that can
much
be
more
pushed
mature.
further. Sorry, Robert, go ahead.
No, for sure. It can be pushed further.
There's just a way to group that to make it look more interesting.
I'm getting
So
ready
more
to.
of those Brock.
I do want to say there's something about the posing of these Seekers and Soundwave and Megatron on this shelf that feels like the cartoon. It's like I think it's Skywarp specifically, but like it's in my opinion it's posed poorly, but it's posed cartoon accurately that makes me buy into the whole look of the shelf in some way.
Right.
I see
Hold on,
him running towards Jazz in the opening credits of season 1.
right.
Do you know what I mean?
Just chiming in on what you said earlier about these like diodes, for lack of a better, on the ground rather than in the background. I think with the white shelf, you have the stone, the foam stone. It looks really elegant and it just looks so much more mature. But like what you were just saying, even though the poses are awkward, I like you were saying, they still are reminiscent of how they were animated. So it works.
Yes.
But I also think these are the new MP Seekers, right?
Yeah, well, he's got a lot of repeat characters. So if you look at that shelf, he's got the Seekers, but then you look at the shelf above, he also has Starscream, Skywarp, and Soundwave again. So there's some repeat going on here, and I'm not sure if maybe that couldn't be scaled down a bit, kind of readjusted. Like, he even has 2 sludges. He has one sludge with his Toy Hacks display, and then he has one sludge sitting alone in a space with 2 Legend scale Optimus and Megatron on the opposite side. Like, I think if he were to kind of scale back the redundancy and scale up the separation of characters, he'd would be in a much better position.
Like you it's okay that you collected maybe two. You have the original MP Soundwave, and then you got the fans toys. You don't need to display both. You don't. I know you love both. Maybe you can have a play area for the ones you still like, but you aren't as good displayed. But
also,
you're crowding your displays.
On that one with the desk, what's that thing behind the office chair?
Ooh, good question. I can't tell.
Looks like some Joe thing, but
it does. It couldn't be the flag, could it?
I mean, I don't, unless it goes all the way over, but I don't know. It's probably not, but it does look like an aircraft carrier.
Yeah. Laura, do you have anything?
There was another.
No, I like the furniture. I don't think it looks bad, but I think that the way that it's on there, it doesn't wow me. Maybe we can have the two shelves in the middle with like the shelves at the same heights and the shelves on the end with the shelves at the same heights. And you know what I mean? Like just to have some consistency, because transfers there's so much color and like so much variability to them. I think
primary
that you do have to have like some organization or some symmetry to them. And you know, I love a corner and I love asymmetry.
You love asymmetry.
But I think I would feel better if there was a way to somehow make the shelf heights. And I think with the risers and stuff, you could do that, right?
So that's fair. Let's move on to the next one. This is Adrien Y. Let me say this. Adrien, you had a hard time following instructions because I left a little note that you had a hard time following instructions in terms of your submission. But in spite of that, I think you have a pretty good display here for a glass display.
Yeah, I like these cabinets.
Yep, they're good cabinets. They're well lit. Everything is posed. There's risers. The vertical space is taken advantage of. There's actually room for expansion, which I'm guessing that you see and are taking note of. I think you have a really well laid out collection.
Yeah. So one thing that I recommend, and it's just a nitpick for me because I don't like seeing the individual lights of these LEDs and the reflection. So you can buy those diffuser strips that go over the top, so it just diffuses, so you don't see each individual bulb, and it just looks like
that's
a light.
That's not a bad idea. I also
I think again, just rearranging, some of the stuff that you have. But this Megatron shelf is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's done a great job. I want to point out something to you, Jisk. Where you see the wall that leads to the hallway where the room enters, there's an Omega Supreme.
I saw that.
Yeah, and he's posed nicely and everything. But over top of that, it's an odd piece of art over top of that, and I feel like there's better art available out there.
There is. There's definitely. I recommend this site. Defending your myths and heroes. They've got a good selection of stuff. Also, in realistic, that poster does need to go up higher for sure.
Regardless, if you decide to keep that one or get something better,
or get a lot more art.
Or a lot more.
You have a lot of room for aggressive expansion of art.
Yeah, I agree.
You should reach out. There's a company, Moss Toys. They got a good artist. Reach out and find out who did their art.
For the Cybertronian Bumblebee.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is in his bedroom or not, which is a little strange. He's got this
guest room / office.
Okay, he's got the dual monitor set up. I don't really have. I think this is well done, man. I think
it's fine. Yeah, for this, it's just playing with it. Hide those wires.
Yeah, I was going to say the wires. I don't know what you do with them, but that is really a nice
hang
for me.
Seekers from them, Laura.
So I think you're going to find yourself in some
and there's a couple shelves that are like a little crowded for me.
Well, I'd love to hear which ones those are, but before I do, I just want to point out, like, there's certain things, right? Like, there's the shelf where he has, like, the aerial bots, and he has some of them in alt mode, and some Stunicons in alt mode, some Protectobots in alt mode, and I'm guessing that's because they're going to go towards a combined mode, but if he has intentions of having them in robot mode somewhere, he's going to have to start reorganizing shelves, and my advice would be to start pre-planning for that, but what were you going to say about some of the busier ones?
I think it's just, like, this one in particular.
Oh, see, I love that.
Do you?
You're talking about the one with all the mini bots?
Yeah, maybe it's just because they're mini.
Yeah,
it's like so much.
And I think maybe that the vertical space is maybe perhaps too taken advantage of if you dropped them down a bit so that you could kind of see their heads. I do agree it's a little crunched.
In the middle, it's just hard to differentiate between some of the bots.
So I think those risers that the back row are on are just too tall. I think if you drop that down a half an inch, maybe a quarter of an inch even.
Let me point out something for that too, because this dude took whatever this Protectobot is. He used the
that's X-Trans.
That's an X-Trans. All right, well, whatever.
Yep.
But he used the ground piece for the Rumble and Frenzy from.
He did.
So that's a good idea. I think again, a lot of these things. I think just having, as Robert calls it, one foam piece, like just foam bricks, actually does. If you just have a few of them, that does like help a lot of these displays.
So I don't know. I don't know. I think like you take a display like this that's so uber clean, and then you start adding realistic textures content to it, I think it causes more distraction.
You don't think if you did it sparingly, just here and there?
I think sparingly just makes it more colorful, more busy, and more distracting.
All right.
I think it would be work on some of the shelves where they're a little simpler. I don't know. But there's only like the Dinobots, there's only a few of them.
But overall, this is a good masterpiece Transformers collection.
Then the movie bot shelf, I like it, but at the same time, you've got those Sharkticons crumbled up on the bottom right, eating one of the Target Masters. But then you have this it's just gap under cup, Work on the spacing there.
Yeah.
That's nitpicking, but it's just to help them.
Just tighten it up a little bit. But good job, Adrien.
I kind of like his Misfit shelf. The one with the Black Prime and the regular Prime and Huffer.
TFC Prime or something.
Nothing's cool looking.
That's a nice looking shelf, and it's very random. Not random, but it's not just robots.
Mm-hmm.
I think the tops need a little balance as well.
Yeah, but I think that's where he's planning on putting his combiners.
Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, so good job, Adrien. So we have an entry from an interesting name here, Matt Normalface.
Oh, nice. Oh, interesting.
It is interesting.
All right.
It's not bad either.
Someone likes the letter 8.
Matt got a lot of going on in your face.
A lot of Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't hate this.
No, me neither.
This seems busy in a very purposeful way.
I don't like that stormtrooper pointing a gun at me.
I thought that was a statue at first. I didn't realize, I didn't realize it was like one of those wall
cardboard cutouts.
things. Yeah,
that's a setup. He could kill you at any time. He'll just call you into his room, dressed up as a stormtrooper standing there, and shoot you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you look at the Black Series display, the Empire specifically, where he's got like Snoke on the second shelf down, that Snoke shelf is money.
Yeah,
it's extremely well done.
Plus with like the reflective floor, like it feels very Star Wars.
Yes,
yeah, very Star Warsy.
Yeah, this whole case, actually, I feel like the bottom shelf needs a little bit more love, but that Snoke shelf, great googly moogly, he nailed that. I think is
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and the shelf with the primes with the comic book behind it, the star screen with the comic book behind it.
I think it has a personality and identity. Like it doesn't just look like a museum, like a classic museum. It looks like it has a
I'm
a life of its own.
Are the glass cases clear in the back, or do they have black backs?
I think some of them are clear in the back and some of them have a black.
But his wall kind of, whatever the situation is, it works. Because it doesn't seem like, obviously there's glass.
Well, even he has that texture on his wall, that like white texture. It's like a crumbled up piece of paper.
Yeah, that art piece.
It's like an art piece, and it just, it's meaningless, quote unquote, but it does add a flavor to the room.
Especially with the lights hitting it, like it feels Star Warsy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is good. That's what I was going to say, just looking at the first photo. Like the fact that you walked in, it's all painted, it is uniform. It is the first time where I would argue that the doors being closed actually are doing you a disservice. Normally it doesn't bother me, but in this case, because the Star Wars stuff is so cool looking, the doors being closed do take away from it. Not that I think you should take the doors off, but I'm just pointing that out.
And I think there's a couple shelves that you could probably push a little bit. You've got this whole shelf of Fireflight in alt mode, and maybe Fireflight's your favorite character, and there's nothing wrong with that. Dead End's my favorite character. There's not much difference between the two in terms of his popularity, but I think maybe if they were in robot mode, you would get a little bit more bang for your buck on that shelf. Otherwise, I think you got to lift a lot of these jets way up. And it's the same thing with the shelf underneath, with like the primes and the bumblebees. Like it just doesn't seem fully realized in a way that a lot of your other shelves do. If you take that shelf of primes and bumblebees second down and you compare it with the shelf of just primes, you have 3 like kind of masterpiece scale primes with the comic behind it. Like that's far more effective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say the Transformer shelves, both of them are the weakest of the whole thing.
Yeah, they are. But like the prime shelf, I think is good. If there's one thing he understands, it's how to display stuff. It's just like some stuff. It seems like his maybe passion or interest or love stood out a bit more. Yeah,
right.
But good job.
Good job, Normal Face.
Good job, Normal Face. You're anything but normal on this show. So this is Colin. This is a very strange submission because I think he has carte blanche to his entire house, but that doesn't make it a bad submission. This is good, but there's a dining room table, and at the head of the dining room table is Darth Vader sitting at the dining room table, like Han Solo when he walked into Bespin. Well, we would be honored if you would join us. Like it's like that moment, like frozen in time.
That would scare the out of me at night.
And that's amazing. But it makes me think that either you have carte blanche or you're living alone and you're able to take some of these liberties, but that doesn't mean that this is a bad display, because I don't think
But even like these cases are wild. They're like something out of like a pharaoh's tomb.
I was going to say, it's like King Tut's cases over here.
Yeah. They're crazy.
They take away from the contents, I think.
I don't know.
I like them because
like
they're so
'em.
crazy looking, but I think like
I'm looking at the cases more than the contents.
That's
my
fair.
biggest complaint is that it's so wild. Like the furniture is more interesting than the stuff in it. Yeah, I guess Robert's right.
Yeah, but I think maybe if you were in the room, I think if you were in the room, you would want to see what are in these cases. You know, like I think they might captivate your attention to take a further look.
Yeah, I don't know about the cases.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one with you.
So it doesn't bother me on all of them, but like the one with the Millennium Falcon on the top of it, yeah. Oof. I don't
Colin,
know.
you need
too much.
It's busy.
Too much. It's very
That
busy
one's
with
busy.
a busy cabinet. So I'm not a huge fan of this black and gold one either, because it's also just a
lot of all the cars.
too much.
There's like a liquor cabinet.
You can't have like a busy cabinet with a busy, but
Like this is a
feel
mask
better.
collection in the.
Oh God.
But wait, but what I want to say
the
is like
liquor cabinet?
in the liquor cabinet. But if you look at it, he's got so many multiples. If you look at like just the top row, he's got 5 of Mayhem's jets lined across the front. Like it's excessive. And if it was a bit less busy, it would probably look more interesting.
Yeah. Why does he have all those?
Yeah, I don't know why. If you look at the second row up, he's got these little dune buggies. He has 7 dune buggies laid across.
Yeah, he's got 5 magenta.
Yeah, like this shelf is too busy, and it's too busy for no reason. You can get rid of some of this stuff or pack it away or whatever and make a more kind of dynamic layout for this stuff.
I thought it was mirrored. I didn't realize he just had so many.
Well,
this is one thing I want to say too, Colin. You may have heard me say, if you listen to this or you subscribe to Patreon, that like people don't call me. I'll hit you up. Colin, give me a call. I got so many questions just about your lifestyle, just based on your furniture. And I gotta know more. So
there's actually some pretty decadent furniture in here in general.
Yeah,
like the end tables and stuff, and the credenzas. Some of the decor on the credenza are actually pretty fascinating to me, like the justice scales.
And he has the life-size Boba, life-size Vader, and Han Solo in carbonite.
Dude, the Han Solo. In
He's invested.
He's in. He's all the way in.
What
and
do you
this
think
might
the
be
age
a
of
basement?
Colin is?
No, it can't.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
It can't be.
No,
it is. It is.
No, I
you go
was gonna say, I think
downstairs,
that
right?
is his
But
basement.
Vader ain't in the basement.
Yeah, but Vader's not in the basement.
upstairs.
Vader's in the main floor, just kicking it.
And maybe it's just a setup for this photo. I feel like Vader's a setup for the photo. How old do you think Colin is, just based on this?
48.
Yeah, I think Colin's in his 50s.
I think it's a good display, Colin. I think it's a good display. I think it's definitely some of it needs to be liquidated a bit and expanded upon in some places and kind of narrowed down in other places. But overall, I think it's good, dude.
Colin, do you believe in ancient aliens? Something tells me you believe in ancient aliens.
Oh, yeah. The purple crushed velvet chair.
Colin's fake plant. Systemic Theology by Wayne Grudem.
Vader at the dining room table.
How about some spilled beans?
How about
I need to see the human monkey hybrid created in a laboratory in Wuhan, China.